pronouncing this name a lot. Last night I had the pleasure of meeting Jackson in Degua. Pretty good. Pretty good. In Degua. And we met at dinner at Kirby Lane. He was on one side of the table, I was on the other, and I'm got a little accent from Nairobi there, and I'm reaching across, and I was practically in the middle of the table trying to get every word, and I was taking notes, so I could add on to today. Let me tell you, you see in your program, you've got his official bio, but let me tell you a few other things that aren't in the official program, which is his farm in rural Kenya. Has 7 brothers and sisters at an NGO in Nairobi. And he took that job, and just like many interns here in this country, he found his calling because they were working with issues of child health, child survival. And he has been working with NGOs ever since in the field of health policy, especially focused on combating AIDS and working for child survival. And then he did that for about 6 years. But then he thought he needed to have experience outside of Africa. So he volunteered to go to Nepal. What a change. From Nairobi to Nepal. And he worked there on a really difficult group. He worked on intravenous drug users who had gotten AIDS. They have a big drug problem, and of course that leads to a problem with AIDS. He worked for 2 years in Nepal with them. He returned to Nairobi and was promoted to his present position, in which he not only helps to set policy, but works one-on-one with members of parliament, very much like we work one-on-one with results partners and our members of Congress. He told us that his advocacy work is very much like results work here. Along with his job, he's working on a master's degree in public policy. He's married to a professor, Sheila, who teaches archaeology and history at Mount Kenya University. They have an 8-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old son. He's got a full life for a guy in his early 30s, wouldn't you say? Jack is in the U.S. For 2 weeks to talk with the media about issues surrounding child health. This is the only speech he's giving while he's here for 2 weeks, so we're so glad we got you. Tomorrow he goes to Richmond, Virginia. Then he's going to be in Memphis, Salt Lake, and Minneapolis. Although when I asked him before where he was going, he said, Minneapolis. I said, Minneapolis. Oh, you'll say that right. And I love Minneapolis. So he'll be talking to media in all those places and spreading the word. Please welcome our speaker, Mr. Jackson in Degua.
Thank you so much. I don't know what to say after such a wonderful introduction. But it's good to see all of you. This takes me back to, I have a disclaimer. The disclaimer is that I came into the US on Monday, and I was prepared about today that I'll be standing before you. And while I was in Kenya, I developed something, a kind of a speech. And then when I came down and sat with the Results Director of Communication, Colin, I had worked on it again. Later on, I sat again with a lady called Cricket. She just works for Resort. I rechanged it again. I came to Austin on Friday. I met with a wonderful gentleman. Wow. Mike. And I talked to him. And the wife, Cheryl. And I worked again on my speech. And yesterday was a wonderful day. I met this wonderful gentleman, Mark. Wow. And he told me a few things, and I worked on my speech again. And while I'm staying also with a wonderful mom, lady, Anne, really wonderful. She gave me also a few hints. Yesterday we sat and we talked a lot during the day. And also partly I changed again my speech. And I'm looking at which version I should be using currently. But when I came in this morning, I was like, I think now I might need to do a free speech. I think that'll be better because I don't know which version I should be using. I only know I really want to thank all of you. This takes me back to Tuesday when we were doing our meeting in Washington, D.C. We were not in Washington, D.C. We were in Virginia. And when we were starting our meeting, someone asked us a very interesting question. The question was quite easy. Who is your global health icon? And people went round. Others talked about Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Talked about various people who've really done commendable and great work. But when it came to my turn, I thought through, and I struggled. And when I got the mic, I didn't know what to say, but all of a sudden, something came into my mind. And I was able to tell them that, to me, my greatest global icons comes to health is the result of volunteers. A few years down the line, like before 2011, I did not know so much about results until I started working with my current organization, Kenya AIDS and Youth Consortium. And we started working with, we're part of Action. Action is part of results. And we started now having an encounter with the result. And when I came in 2011 in Washington, D.C. during the results conference, I see, and I got to understand the work that you do. It was so striking for me. It was so amazing that someone, somewhere, very far, is really working very hard, talking to their elected leaders, engaging them consistently, every day, volunteering themselves for the sake of a child somewhere, far, many miles away, and they're so committed. I watched at how the volunteers were going to the Capitol Hill, how they would, work together as a team to bring up certain issues. And I was meant to understand, especially for the global team, I was meant to understand they were doing this for the sake of the so many global efforts that are taking place, so that a child somewhere, a mother somewhere can be able to have a life. A child somewhere can be able to access that life-saving vaccine. A mother somewhere can be able to deliver safe. That was really amazing. Until today, Result Volunteers to me remains the greatest global health icon. You're my champion as I stand before you. And I think I need to move into course so that I don't keep you for long. I just want to mention this, that if I reflect on the work that I do, like you had earlier on, I am basically working policy and advocacy work. I'm in charge of the policy and advocacy work in Kenya within my organization at the national level and also at the regional level. At regional level, we're talking about the Afro region. The work that I do takes me back to the story of my own mother. My mom was born in early 1950s, and this was during the colonial Kenya. And she tells me a very interesting story. When she was born, she tells me that before her, my grandma had gotten a couple of children. There must have been, she tells me 2 or 3, but all of them had passed away. So when she was born, and she survived until her first birthday, my grandma was really struggling. She kept on struggling what sort of a name to give her. But when she realized that she had survived, she gave her an African name. And that name is Njoki. Njoki means the one who survived, like the one who has been returned. And the story of my mother takes me back, and it reminds me of the sort of the work that I do. I know that was during the colonial Kenya, and a couple of things may have changed at the country level. That was during the colonial time. We got into the independence, moved into the Cold War era, and into the current phase after the 1990s. And I will look at it, the issues of child survival, health, mother surviving when they're giving birth has been improving. But I still can tell you that we still have a bit of a longer way to go. I look at it, for example, a couple of years back, I would say less than a decade ago, back at home in Kenya, we used to lose about 200,007 children yearly as a result of vaccine preventable causes. I know this has gone down, has always been halved, has almost halved to around 106 children that we are still losing every year as a result of vaccine preventable causes. It also takes me back and makes me think about the work we do, especially the northern part of the country, closer to Somalia, whereby you are able to come across very interesting and also at the same time some stories that are not so much lovely. These are the regions whereby we have the communities, we call them the pastoralists, the people who move from one place to the other because they need to look for pasture for the animals, they need to look for water, and they have to keep on moving from one place to the other in search of pasture for the animals. And the situation of children and mother, when you find them moving with their animals, young mothers with their children at the back of the donkeys, someone at the back of the camels, this is such situation. And they're also living in areas whereby you find access to health facilities. It's not that easy because they have to keep on moving. Because also being a remote area and security is a big challenge. You find health centers are scattered, and some of those health centers that you would expect them to be fully equipped, they are not, because the workers used to be there right away because of security. So when you come across them and you see the sort of a life they live, you somehow better for sort of a life they live, and yet you're a Kenyan. I imagine someone else outside who's not a Kenyan, so if he or she was to see that, how that life would be. But I don't just want to paint a bad picture, because I look at it, for the last 1 decade, we have had a lot of changes that have been taking place. We have had the introduction of new vaccines. I look at it, for example, 5 years ago, a country like Kenya, 2 diseases, pneumonia and diarrhea, were major killers. And this takes me to a story that happened around 2011. But from 2011, for example, as a country, we have been able to introduce a new vaccine called the pneumonia vaccine. They call it the pneumococcal vaccine. And from 2011, that should be like 4 years down the line, there's a lot of changes. A study was done in one of the coastal regions of Kenya that was able to show, as a result of introducing a new vaccine by the name pneumonia vaccine, we have been able to cut the deaths of our children below 5 years by over 80%. That was really commendable. This is a scientific study that was supported by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and our Ministry of Health back at home. This takes me back now to the story of reconnecting with the work that you're doing as results volunteers. I know many of you have been able to voice they've been able to voice and add their voice to the need to support institutions like Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunization, that is Gavi Alliance, that they should be able to have the money that they need so that they can be able to continue with the good work that they are doing among the developing nations. You might feel at one point that you're too far, but I want to assure you this evening that your voice has made a difference. Your voice is making a difference in children in those developing countries. And you might look at it, for example, like I just went and I talked to my congressman or congresswoman, I talked to my representative, I talked to my senator. I did not do much. You might feel like you're doing solid, but I want to assure you, those voices in different parts of the world, in different states in the US, they are making a huge big difference in where we come from. Currently, pneumonia is no longer a big challenge to our children. A good number of them are able to live to see their fifth birthday. Last year in June, we were able to introduce as a country diarrhea vaccine. Most of our children who used to die as a result of pneumonia, it's not going to be much of a big challenge now currently. So I'm looking at all these global efforts that you're part of, that you're supporting. And I'm able to see you, I'm able to reflect that and see you as the champion of our children. The children I'm able to interact with, the children I'm able to see them grow every day. So I want to thank you so much. I want to commend you for the good work you're doing. I know we are not yet there. We still need to do some more work. But I just want to encourage you that the work you're doing, the great work you're doing, it is totally, purely making a difference where we are and where we are living. Just to echo a very interesting story that has moved me. In 2011, when I mostly started working, or let me put it this way, strongly focusing on issues of child survival, we were working, because I work in a consortium, we were working with a small CBO that was based in one of the informal settlements in Nairobi. We call it Kibra. It's a slum. I think it's the largest slum in the whole of Africa. And this lady was trying to do some good work within her CBO, trying to reach young children who are infected and trying to support the mother so that those kids can be able to access the right treatment in terms of ARVs and retroviral treatment. And her name was Mary. And Mary, somewhere in 2011, got a baby, a beautiful bouncing baby girl. Because she used to come to the office so often, we used to interact with her. It happened one day that I got a call in the office and I was told that Mary has a baby. And we were quite excited. Oh yeah, and we were like, we'll go and see her. And then we continue with our work. And unfortunately, we're not able to go and see her because Mary used to be so close to most of my colleagues in the office. And then after some time, we got this really shocking news that we were told, have you heard that Mary's baby has passed away? And we could not understand why. And unfortunately, again, we were not able to visit Mary during that period and console her, but we were told that we'd be having a burial within the city in one of the cemeteries. And we went for the burial with some of my colleagues that we work with, the policy team. And it was really sad when we were engaging with Mary because it's not easy to ask her what happened, but we decided just to have courage and ask her. And because Mary was accustomed to the work that we were doing, the vaccines work, I remember her telling us, I'm sorry, my daughter succumbed to pneumonia. And because Mary had heard about the work we were doing, there's something that she said that really, really moved my heart, and until today I've never forgotten that statement. She said, I wish that we had a pneumonia vaccine in the public sector. I didn't understand that when Mary got the baby, she felt that it was important for a child to be vaccinated and have all the many vaccines she can be able to have. But interestingly, by then we had not introduced a pneumonia vaccine. It was not in the public health system, but it was in the private. But I believe it was quite an expensive vaccine. And to date, those words still rings into my mind. She said, I wish we had a pneumonia vaccine. But I'm so grateful today that most of our children don't have to go through Mary's child kind of an ordeal. We have that vaccine because of the good work that you're doing. We are so grateful, and I'm so honored just to be standing before such a wonderful people who are committed to other people, who are committed to the work, to be doing such a wonderful work. And I want to keep you here for long. I just want to thank you so much for the good work you're doing. I just want to mention that we're also trying to do kind of a similar work back at home, trying to make our issues different, trying to make a difference in the work we are doing. The scenario is changing because most of us, because of what we are trying to do, all of us. But I just want to finish by saying this. And when I look at the story of my mother, what she taught me, and I look at the story of Mary, it takes me back to this famous word that was spoken by this gentleman by the name Albert. He said, sometimes our light goes out, but is blown again into flame by an encounter with another human being. Each of us owes the deepest thanks to those who have rekindled this inner light. It also takes me back to one of a great man and who was part of the American Civil Rights Movement leaders. And there's something he said that was very useful. Takes me back to my history professor. He said, sometimes you don't have to understand the law of thermodynamics. You don't have to understand physics. You don't have to know about Karl Marx that I spent a lot of my years at the university being taught about. You don't have to understand how the universe operates, but you just need to have a soul that is generated by love. That love for humanity, for you to be able to take action for someone that you're not able to see, but you know that that person somewhere needs your voice. I want to thank you so much. Congratulations for the good work you're doing. Trust me, it is making a big difference, and we are a testimony where you are. We are that it is making a huge, big difference. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Thank you so much.